Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's session to meditate together, being alone together, to inquire into the mind, understand the self, understand the inner world, the meaning of living, the truth of the mind. It is all about this nameless thing the human being has been seeking centuries by centuries. But this moment, let's truly meet at this moment with a fresh mind, emptying all the things we have accumulated. Truly at this moment, to observe, to see, to perceive. This whole journey, which is called meditation, is also the process of turning inward. No matter where you are, which country you are in, which culture you are in, which society you are in. As human beings, we are all connected by the nature of mind. The mind functions in the same way. Across races, peoples, populations. Without understanding the nature of mind, which means that the mind is trapped by thoughts. In that state, there's no real understanding. The mind is divided. Look around this world. People are divided by thoughts, ideas, ideologies, opinions. Thoughts have become so important in life, in politics, in media, in education, everywhere. When the mind is trapped in thoughts, the mind is inevitably divided. Therefore, it is in conflicts, contradiction. Which exist in our daily petty issues between different people. The conflicts is really to understand the mind, understand thoughts has played such an important role in life, at each corner of life. To see all the issues of human beings, found the individual issues, all kinds of daily issues, petty issues between people, in the relationship, in the workplace, in the family, to the social issues, to the nation's issues, to the war, and all kinds of killings. All of those boils down to the thought, The mind is trapped in thoughts, in divisions. In all kinds of seeking benefit, seeking security. Seeking advantage. Such a life is full of conflicts from the individual levels to the politics, to all kinds of things. Incessant conflicts, incessant problems. For most people, they have got used to this already. That's why more and more people are only concerned about themselves, care about themselves. But the more we care about ourselves psychologically, which goes around the center, which is the self, the ego, the more division we are creating, the more conflicts we are creating, the more problems we are creating. The Western civilization has become so individual nowadays. Manifesting the unprecedented level of the self-centered activities in everyone's mind. To meditate for each of us is to really see the issues, the consequence, the tremendous consequence of this life, this lifestyle. To see the real danger in life. The physical danger can be easily understood. In the wild, all kinds of dangers can be perceived by the mind easily. To survive. But living in a society, everything becomes so easy. Society has brought about such an easy life. Can satisfy all your desires, all your wantings, all your cravings. But you are not satisfied because the mind wants more, craves more. And such craving, such seeking, creates the turbulence, the incessant issues for each of us. But the easy life, living in a society, has made us lose the alertness for this danger, this alertness for danger, which is the same with the physical danger. The danger is thought. Thoughts is like a drug, can give one pleasure. but also intoxicate the person. The pleasure distorts the perception. So the mind loses the alertness, the guard against the danger. That's the beginning of the corruption of the mind, also the beginning of a corruptive life. So before today, we continue the journey. Let's keep silent for 3 or 4 minutes, during which let's just focus on breath or simply empty the mind to come back to this moment. Living in the society means that the mind is conforming to a pattern, which is the mental construct of the society. In that mental construct, the mind keeps seeking in terms of achieving, reaching, getting, acquiring. The mind is purely trapped in the measurement. Measurement implies all kinds of comparison. Want to be better, want more. The mind is taking pleasure from comparing. Also taking pain from comparing. We compare, so we compete. In that track, the mind keeps becoming, achieving more and more and more. Never stop. Overdose is a part of the social mental construct, which are all in the domain of thoughts. So, living in the society, if the mind is not alert, not fully aware of this, the mind is inevitably trapped by the thoughts. Regarding the thoughts as part of life, your work, your study, education, the way of running a business are all conditioned on the thoughts in this mental construct. And young people are educated to train, to conform to the pattern. In that conforming, the mind is also inevitably in conflict. So there are all kinds of activism. So here, when we look at this, we don't condemn it. We just observe how thoughts have permeated into life, into such a subtle level. The mind is totally conditioned on this. And when the mind encounters issues, the mind is confused. The problems, the pain, the suffering is there. But the mind is totally confused about this. The psychologists want to fix this, want people to want to solve these issues while the mind can still conforms to the pattern. But the problem is the pattern itself. When the mind is trapped in that pattern, all kinds of the pleasure from achieving something, being something, acquiring something, becomes the meaning of life, so to speak. Such a mind is totally disconnected with nature. The mind is busy seeking pleasure. The energy has been used, wasted in seeking pleasure. Therefore, there's no energy left for really observing, for living at this moment. And in that very seeking pleasure, the mind is turbulent, keeps chasing its own tail. So, for anyone who is really serious about living a life really meaningfully, really beautifully, really simply, is to inquire into this. It's not to make a judgment on this, not to condemn it, not to justify it, but to observe, to see the clarity, to see how the life has been made so complicated by thoughts. For a mind which is totally trapped in thoughts, thinking, the intellectual capacity, takes over everything else. Everything is come out of thinking. We almost forget how to perceive, the importance of perceiving the life properly. The mind is totally trapped in the narratives. There are a lot of scientific study which shows the researcher marvels at how smart other animals are. Isn't it because we have forgotten how to perceive? Therefore, we are surprised at other animals who are able to perceive, which is the real intelligence of the mind. The overseeking intellectual capacity makes us ignore the importance of the intelligence of the mind, which is beyond any thoughts, any thinking. The intelligence comes out the proper perception when the thoughts are in the right place, when the thoughts are not distorting the perception. The whole neuron system, which is the body and the mind, which is one thing. When there's no division, therefore there's no conflict. The whole neuron system begins to show its intelligence. All the animals relies on the intelligence of the neuron system to survive. We did, but now we over-rely on the thoughts for all kinds of things. It's totally out of balance. Where there's imbalance, there are issues. To meditate in the real sense is to really see the oscillation created by thoughts. When we are oscillated by thoughts, we are caught up in the past and future, caught up in the time as concept, in terms of all kinds of planning, ambition, ends, goals. But the real time is only now, this moment. There's no clock, there's no watch. Only now. But as long as the time becomes a concept, the mind starts its narratives. With the central finger, the self, the ego. All kinds of stories, all kinds of plannings, all kinds of fantasies, all kinds of imaginations. The mind is purely kidnapped by the time as a concept. That's the oscillation. In that oscillation, the mind seeks pleasure. The mind craves for more things, more pleasure. The mind suffers. The mind is turbulent. To end all the issues, to solve all the issues, is to end that oscillation. That oscillation is a small world created by thoughts. When the mind is trapped in that oscillation, the mind misperceives that small, distorted world as the whole world. But when the mind really, really walks out of that oscillation, now, when the mind really meets this moment afresh, that's a new world. A very different world. A world on a different dimension. It is a vast. It is limitless. It has no center. The center is the self. Where there's the center, there's a limit. Therefore, there's oscillation. But such a new world, which is beyond the oscillation, has such vast space. In that space, the mind is really free. The mind is connecting with nature, with humanity. That mind is fully at present. The mind is no longer time-bound. There's peace. There's silence on the mind. It can only take place now. That's the real power of now. And that's also the truth of life. And this is the real awe of life. Therefore, it is really awesome. So, time again for us to meditate. Let's do it now in silence, following the audio guide. To save the meaning of being present. Focus on breath. Feel, perceive. No thinking. In this moment by moment observation, let's start this meditation practice. Now, let's take a 10-minute meditation. Start by taking a moment to find a comfortable position to sit in a posture that you feel relaxed and get alert. Let hands rest on your knees or laps. Let the eyes close gently. Soften your forehead. Act a soft smile in the corner of your lips. Breathe naturally. As you breathe in, be aware that you are breathing in. Feel the sensation of breathing in. The region can be the nostrils, can be the belly, can be anywhere. Focus on the part you feel most. As you breathe out, be aware that you are breathing out. Feel the sensation of breathing out. The region can be the nostrils, can be the belly, can be anywhere. Focus on the part you feel most. Fix your attention on the breath. Let go of any thought, words, images. This moment, nothing is more important than breath. While you are listening to the bell, check where your attention is. If it wasn't on the breath, after the bell, gently invite your attention back to the breath and sustain your attention on the breath. Slowly bring your awareness back to this room. Feel into your body. Wiggle your fingers and toes. When you are ready, open your eyes. Hopefully, the past 15 minutes meditation has brought everybody some peace and calm to really quieten the mind. Understanding the mind requires a very peaceful mind. Very subtle mind. Such a mind is not caught up in verse, in the reactions to the verse, to the symbols. Such a mind simply observes what is going on the mind at this moment. Such an observation is beyond any verse and description. In that careful observation, where the self is totally absent, the mind touches upon the truth. It is beyond any description. What the speaker can describe is only pointing to that, but words are not a thing. So everybody must go beyond the verse to really see the meaning. See what we have been through are pointing to. Such an observation leads to a quiet mind. And only such a quiet mind is able to observe. It is the one process, the power of awareness. So life is facing too many verbal things. The whole society is functioning on words, because for most people, the mind is words. The words are the mind. Such a mind is inevitably enslaved to any verbal statements, to verse, to symbols. Such a mind is not free at all. Not being free, the mind can't observe, can't inquire. Such a mind keeps arguing such an argumentative mind is not a peaceful mind. Therefore, unable to observe or inquire. Because the very argumentative state of the mind is another layer of self-deception. So that's the whole content of today's session. Thank you for everybody from over the world joining this session, inquiring, understanding together. And if you like this session, please share it with more people. Let's bring this clarity to more people. You're also welcome to donate to the session, to the Mindiverse Foundation, to help us, to help the foundation reach more people, bring clarity to more people. Life shouldn't have been so complicated. Only a mind which is really meeting this moment can perceive the meaning of life, the meaning of a simple and beautiful life. So may this peace and calm always be with you, and also hope meditation becomes your life. Your life becomes meditation. So finally, thanks again for people joining session from Inside Timer, from Zoom and YouTube. And hopefully, let's meet again in the future sessions. Take care. Bye-bye.